Hello, lovely viewers. My name is Megan Ridge Morris, and I am here today to chat with the esteemed Meg Durkin Vyas. Meg has been a trainer for ChildLight since before the inception of our 95-hour program over 8 years ago. She's a former librarian, a certified health coach, mother to 4 children who are currently spread out all across the country, maybe across the world. Yeah. Newly married, and Meg reaches over 200 children a week teaching yoga and mindfulness at various schools across her area. Meg has taught so many trainings and fun workshops for ChildLight over the years. She had a very popular book group over the pandemic. She's done the summer camps for us at Berwick Academy. I could go on and on. So thank you for being here, Meg. First, can you tell us about your yoga journey and what brought you to ChildLight?
Yes, be happy to. So thanks for having me today. And nice to always talk about my passion, yoga. So my yoga journey. So I was going through a tough time in my life and had done yoga once before. But then I had a close friend that taught yin yoga. So she said, come to my yin yoga class and give this a try. So I went, and it was just kind of the peace and the connectedness I needed from myself. And I said, oh, I need more of this. I need more of this. So I said, okay, what can I do? So she recommended a 200-hour teacher training for me to take, not because I thought I wanted to be a teacher, but just so I could really delve very deeply into it. So I showed up at the 200-hour teacher training, and guess what? I'd never done any standing postures before because there's no standing postures in yin. So I had a big learning curve, and I finished the 200-hour, and I thought, okay, now what am I going to do? And I thought, well, I need to get a job. Now I need to, it's part of my life. I need to not be a stay-at-home mom anymore, and I need to get a job. So I said, well, I've always worked with children, and I could just do kids yoga. Not that many people are doing it. Maybe it'd be a nice niche. So I jumped feet first into teaching kids yoga. And I just said yes to anybody that would have me anywhere. And that's how it kind of began. And then let's say like 2 years into it, I found Yoga for Classrooms, which at that point was owned by Lisa Flynn, and she owned ChildLight Yoga and Yoga for Classrooms. So I said, okay, I want to train teachers to do this because I think it should be part of the schools. So I did that. And after about a year, I said, now, Lisa, I really want to work for ChildLight because I really like this training stuff and I want to train for ChildLight. She said, well, you'd have to take my ChildLight training first. I said, oh, okay, I could do that. As I'd already taken previous kids trainings, but I hadn't taken the ChildLight one yet. So I took the ChildLight one. And then I said, okay, now I want to be a trainer. And she said, when it's time. And I said, okay. So then I kind of forgot about it. And like 8 months later, she called me up and she said, it's time. I was like, what? She's like, oh, for you to be a ChildLight trainer. And so that's how it kind of happened. And that was back in 2014. As Megan said, I have taught, I think it's like 150 trainings for ChildLight. So it's been a lot and a lot of fun. And I've met so many wonderful people and been in so many wonderful yoga studios and online trainings. It's been a fabulous journey.
Thank you, Meg. That's great. I learned a few things in there myself. All right. So this is a big question. You could go a lot of places with it, but what does yoga mean to you?
So yoga to me means connecting to myself, my full self. So in the definition of yoga, I was taught in the 200-hour teacher training, it's the yoga, or the uniting of the body, breath, body, mind, and spirit is how they like to say it in the teacher training. And over time, working with children and making it just a little bit easier, I like to say the body, the breath, and the brain. So it's connecting within. It's also being present and present with myself and those around me. And it's just an opportunity to feel myself, I would say. I don't know how to describe it, but being comfortable being in my body, being comfortable being in my mind without it taking over, be comfortable with my breath, finding ease in breathing. And that's what yoga is to me.
Nice. And what do you most enjoy about teaching the trainings and teaching youth?
Well, as I said before, this is my passion. This is what I love to do. So I love to plant seeds and spread it around as much as I can. I love to teach trainees so that they can spread it even further, and maybe they can gather more tools for their toolbox. I love teaching youth because I love sparking that newness of it, the finding of it, and the joy that they can find from it, or the calm they can find from it, and hopefully giving them some kind of life skill that they can carry forward with themselves.
That's awesome. Yeah. And you've been doing this for so long. How you started with ChildLight, I think in 2015. Is that right?
I think it was 14.
Yeah. Yeah. So what differences have you noticed since you started that all the way back then to now?
I noticed that yoga is a more mainstream term, that you can say it and people know it, and they know that it's great for kids. In fact, they've done it themselves, so they want their kids to get the benefit of starting it earlier. That's definitely more of a trend. I notice that we've had a lot of educators coming to our trainings more and more over time. So I noticed that it has become more prevalent for it to be incorporated in schools. And that's not just private schools, that's a lot of public schools. They're coming, the school counselors, occupational therapists, the principal administrators, the classroom teachers, the paraprofessionals. They're all coming, looking for more tools for their toolbox. And so I've definitely seen a trend of increased educators in my ChildLight trainings over time.
Yeah, that's a great thing to point out. It's very true. Yeah, so in this line of work, especially because you're working so much during the week in schools, you're really full time with all of this. You spend a lot of time caring for others. And how do you make sure that you're taking care of yourself too?
Great question. A very important question. I was just giving a workshop about compassion fatigue,
Right.
and how to give self-care and self-compassion. So I'll just give a couple of tips that I was thinking about for that and how I fit it into my world. First of all, for myself, it's really important to have a spiritual practice and to have a daily practice for myself to keep myself grounded and present. So that's in the forefront. It's good for me to think that self-care is not selfish. I love this quote by Kobe Yamada that says, "If we don't live in our body, where will we? If we don't take care of our body, where will we live?" So that's important for me to remember. I think it's really important to remember what I can control and what I can't control. And the last bit that I think is really striking for me is to kind of right size my role. So practicing kind of humility of knowing what I can do and what I can't do, where my start is and where my stop is, so that I'm taking care of myself, not trying to overextend or to do more than I can. So keeping my boundaries and keeping that proper really helps in my self-care.
Absolutely. Right size my role. I love that. I'm going to use that in the future. All right. So I've got one last question, and it's kind of a fun one. If you had $1 million to spend and knew you could not fail, what would you do with it? And you can't spend it on yourself.
$1 million to give away, basically. Is that what you're saying?
Yes. Yeah. Or, to start something, it could be anything. You just can't put it in your own bank account. That's all.
Too bad. Because if I was doing it in my own bank account, I would just start traveling the world. That's what I would do. But anyway, I can't do that one. So I think I would love to start some kind of foundation to bring yoga and mindfulness to youth that can't afford it. Because one of the things I really believe, and that's why one of the reasons I love being in schools, is it kind of crosses a border a little bit about yoga being for people that are wealthy, because I really believe it's a basic tool that should be accessible to everyone. So I would love to have a foundation for that.
Well said.
Yeah. And I'm working with a new population, Megan, that I don't know if you know. So I'm also working in a hospital now,
Oh, great.
and I'm working with adolescents and children and neurodiverse children. And they're in the hospital for 2 weeks to a couple months dealing with mental illness, self-care to themselves or others. And a lot of them there, to get their medication balanced out or just to have a break from the environment they've been in, give them more tools. And I'm really happy to be offering yoga to them once a week, teach 5 classes once a week to this population, and really finding some new breakthroughs. And it kind of fits my role of what I was just talking about with $1 million, because this would be another opportunity to get it into more places beyond schools are great, love schools, but also hospitals and children that are suffering from mental health or physical ailments is a nice tool also.
Yes, that is so excellent. All right. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to sit down and talk with me, Meg. I know you're likely headed out the door to go teach right now. Yeah.
Yeah, I have 4 classes to teach today, 2 at a preschool, 1 I'm teaching at a collaborative with young adults with disabilities, intellectual and physical disabilities, and then 1 for a high school gym requirement. So that I teach 4 times a week. So yeah, every day is new in my teaching world. I have lots of different places to go every day to
Yeah.
plant seeds.
Never a dull moment. And you do a great job of practicing what you teach, and your commitment to getting into the schools and all these different organizations to share the tools with as many people as possible is it's why we're doing what we're doing, so that maybe we can see a generation that knows how to cope a little bit better. So thank you for being such a big part of that. Thank you for all the important work that you do.
Thank
If
you.
you're Yeah, if you're watching this and you have questions for Meg or anyone here at ChildLight, please reach out. A lot of people reach out after they take trainings with Meg and they think they're getting a hold of her, but you're contacting me instead.
A
So
little confusing with a similar name.
yeah. So Meg's email is Meg, MEG at childlightyoga.com, and mine is Megan, MEGAN at childlightyoga.com. You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter as ChildLight Education Company. And we have information about all of our teacher trainings on our website, childlighteducationcompany.com. We offer trainings in person, live, virtually, and self-paced online. And Meg has several live trainings coming up very soon, so be sure to check it out if you're interested. And thank you for watching.
You'll be seeing me in the same space. Come take one of my trainings.
Yes, I love that big, beautiful picture behind you. All right. Thanks again, Meg.
Bye. Have a great day.
Bye.